I'm finally going to get to read Emily Henry's new book. So unfortunately, I don't have the physical copy for Emily Henry's new book, Book Lovers. First of all, it's only May 1st and it's not out yet. And then second of all, I did not get a physical ARC. I actually got an audiobook ARC. So we're gonna be listening to it on Libro FM. I'm so excited though, because literally first thing in the morning, I went on to Libro FM and checked the influencer ALCs. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, ALCs. And sure enough, like the first book on there was Book Lovers. And I was so excited because I got charged for May in Book of the Month. I guess I just needed to go on there and manually pause it again, but whatever, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. The only bad thing about getting a credit for Book of the Month was that Book Lovers was not a Book of the Month pick for May, which I was like blown away about. I was so shocked. But thankfully, Libro FM came through. It's gonna give me Book Lovers. I'm going to read it. I'm so excited. I just need to download it first. So we're gonna press the download button. Did that work? Nope. Okay, there we go. So I figured because I have Book Lovers now, and in this past year, I've become such a big Emily Henry fan. I read Beach Read last year and it blew me away. I have only cried that hard at a book like a few times, and Beach Read was definitely one of those times. It was so good. It was so, so good. And then a few months later, I read People We Meet on Vacation, and that book was really good as well. I think I like Beach Read more than People We Meet on Vacation, but I do like them both. They both got 5 stars. And to me, Emily Henry just writes the perfect kind of romance book. It's both like contemporary and romance and hard-hitting, and it makes you cry. For me, it's like everything I could ever want in a romance book, and they're so good. So I have really, really high expectations for Book Lovers. I think I'm going to love this book, so I'm really excited to read it. I'm going to possibly make myself a coffee. It's almost 7:30. And then I will just relax and listen to some of Book Lovers. I was just about to call it Beach Read. We're gonna listen to Book Lovers. I'm so excited, so pumped. It doesn't even feel real.
Ask the question, then you said it. Always saying things you're regretting. Can't erase the steps we've taken. Can't go back to the time and place we met. I was so upset, but you made it all better. Now it's messing with my head, yeah. We don't say goodbye the best. I still feel your ghost inside my chest. No, we didn't learn our lesson, but if you want, can we try again? Oh yeah, try again. Oh yeah.
I don't really know what to say for this update. I am currently, let's see, I'm currently 26% of the way through. Sorry this is such a close-up. I literally just cannot hold my arm up at the moment. Okay. I'm on chapter 7. It's really cute. I love like the sisterly bond relationship. It's so adorable. I love like all of the witty comebacks and banter and stuff like that. Such a good book. I really like the male main character. I mean, I guess the male love interest. He's fantastic. We love him. Very Emily Henry. The main character I also really like. She's like very wound tight, so very cool. I don't know why. Okay, I can't even. I feel like I'm not making any sense, so I'm gonna go to bed. I'm so tired. And I just like have not been sleeping well lately, so I might as well just go to bed. It's currently 11 o'clock at night and I am I have like 4 hours left of this audiobook at 2 times speed. So yeah, really enjoying it. Definitely will read more of it tomorrow. Might even finish it tomorrow, which is great. And this will be just like a fun, cute, short vlog. So unfortunately, I kind of got sidetracked and busy with a bunch of other stuff today. So I didn't read very much of Book Lovers. That wasn't necessarily something that I planned on not doing, I guess. I had these lofty plans of like, oh, I'll finish Book Lovers today and everything will be great and awesome and amazing. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So that's okay. We can have a change of plans, and I am going to dedicate myself to finishing more of Book Lovers tomorrow. I can't say that I will finish the whole thing tomorrow, but I'm definitely going to read more of it. So super excited about that. I am loving the book already, so it really shouldn't be hard to finish it. It's not like, oh, I feel like I'm in a slump or anything. It's just like, it just didn't happen for me today. That's a story of my life. So yeah. I filmed a video today, which is good. I feel productive. And yeah, that's about it. Those are all the updates that I have. I took a shower, so I look fresh-faced. I still have my sunglasses on because I need to keep my bangs out of my face. When you have bangs, it's like great until you hit like 7 or 8 at night and you just want your bangs out of your face. You don't want anything touching your forehead anymore. So yeah. Okay, I think that's all of my updates for now. I think that's all I have to say, so I will see you all tomorrow.
Close to me. Close to me. Ask the question, then you said it. Always saying.
So I finally get to end this vlog. It feels like I have been away from vlogging for a really long time, which is true, I have, because I went on like a 4 or 5 day trip to New York recently. So I literally finished Book Lovers right before I went to New York, like the day before. I had 0 time to film an outro for this vlog or like film my thoughts about this book before I left, because it was literally like racing around the house, trying to get everything together, trying to pack everything, trying to figure out if my suitcase was going to be too heavy. So I had a lot of things to do literally the day I finished Book Lovers, which is kind of a bummer because I didn't really get to film any of like my initial reactions to the book, but I have been able to sit with it for a week since I read it, and I have a lot of thoughts. So as you all know, I have read other Emily Henry books. The first Emily Henry book I've ever read was Hello Girls, and that was her co-written book with Brittany Cavallaro, and I didn't really like that book at all. I think I gave it a 2 stars, maybe 3. I might have been a little generous, but yeah, I really did not like that book. So it had kind of dissuaded me from reading other Emily Henry books at that point, until Beach Read became like super popular, and then I read Beach Read and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's one of my favorite books of all time. And then I read People We Meet on Vacation, and I think I gave that a 5 stars as well, but I didn't like it quite as much as Beach Read. But when Book Lovers was announced, I was so excited. I was like, this sounds perfect, this sounds right up my alley, and I already know I'm gonna love it. So I feel like I did kind of go into this book a little biased, which is fine. I mean, I really like Emily Henry's books. I feel like she's one of those authors now that I'm like, okay, I like will always like her books. It's not going to be that big of a deal. I feel like Hello Girls was a fluke mainly because it was co-written, and I do not like co-written books. I don't really think I've ever read a co-written book that I liked. I can't think of one. I'm sure there's one that I've liked, but majority, I'd say like 90% of the time, I don't like books that have like 2 or more authors. So it's not a surprise that I didn't like Hello Girls. Anyway, we're talking about book lovers. This is a book lovers vlog. I did write a review for book lovers, but I didn't post it because I wanted to kind of keep a lot of my thoughts in this vlog. I've realized that I tend to really gravitate towards books about books, and not necessarily like books about a story or books about like any like specific book. But this year especially, I've read so many books that have to do with publishing or like just the book community in general, and I've really liked all of those. So I think that this might be kind of like, I don't know if you would call it a subgenre, but I really like specifically romance books that center around publishing or books in general. So yeah, I really liked that aspect of this book, and it definitely translated really well. I mean, not that I have any knowledge of publishing, so I can't necessarily say like, oh, this is like very true to publishing, but I did really like the representation of it, so I think it works. And I really like that this book centered around this unlikable female main character. I thought that she was a lot of fun. I thought that she was very snarky and dry, and was definitely very different than a lot of other romance heroines that I've read about before. So I really did appreciate that. She was kind of like a Devil Wears Prada sort of character. She's very dedicated to her job. She is very like, I don't want to say high class, like what would you say, like very fashionable, very classy, I guess, I don't know. And then you have her sister, who's kind of like her opposite, but they get along really well and they have like a really great sister relationship. So Nora, the main character, is kind of like the stickler, and then Libby, her little sister, is kind of more of the free spirit and is more down to like try new experiences and do all these fun things during their trip to this little town that Nora actually has a connection to, because I believe she's a literary agent. I want to say, I almost said publicist, but I'm pretty sure that she's a literary agent, and one of the books that she represents takes place in this little North Carolina town. And so her and her sister end up going there, and they're gonna do this like kind of bucket list sort of thing. And I think that's another aspect of books that I really love. I love a bucket list. I've read quite a few books that have that as part of the plot, so I tend to like those as well. So this book definitely had like a lot of elements that I tend to gravitate towards, which I feel like really set it up for me to really enjoy this book. And I think that's something that Emily Henry does so well in all of her books, is that she makes her characters so well-rounded, like to the point to where they feel so realistic. I definitely felt this a lot in Beach Read, whereas like January and Augustus really feel real to me. They feel like real characters who could live in real life, and there's so many aspects of their personality and like so many little parts of their personality as well that just make them feel real. And this was definitely apparent in this book as well. Like Nora feels so realistic. Like there are so many just like little minute things about her that make her feel real, and I feel like that's super important, especially in romance books, where I feel like you kind of have to have this suspension of disbelief when you're going into a romance novel anyway. So it's kind of nice to have these little elements of realism in a romance novel. And I think also Nora's little insecurities throughout the book also made her feel very real, because she could have like definitely come off as this very stoic, very hard sort of character, but Emily Henry was able to give her like all these little insecurities that made her feel a bit more soft. And I really liked that. It made her feel really human. And I also loved her interactions with Charlie, and I liked him as a character as well. I was surprised that I didn't gravitate more towards him, because I tend to really gravitate towards Emily Henry's male characters, like Gus from Beach Read and then Alex from People We Meet on Vacation. I definitely really relate to those characters. And it's not that I necessarily related to any of the characters in Book Lovers, but I was kind of surprised that I didn't like initially gravitate towards Charlie, and I didn't initially like be like, oh, that's me. That's me. I tend to do that a lot with male characters. I really relate to a lot of them, especially the ones that I love, obviously. But I don't know, I was kind of surprised that I'm like, oh, I don't see myself in Charlie at all. Which is totally fine. It didn't detract from my enjoyment of the book. So it was fine. I really liked it. I love their like chemistry. It was very apparent from like the first time they ever met. It was just like immediately they get thrown into this, you know, scenario, and they just start bouncing off each other. Like they have this really great repertoire. They have like this really great way of just like boom, 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 and it's so much fun to read. It makes it like so entertaining just to watch them kind of like pick at each other. And in my review I said that it was like definitely soulmate levels of connection, and I think that that's very true, because like I said, even from like the very first moment that they met, it was just so clear that they had this like really deep connection without having ever met each other. It was just so clear, and I love that about this book. I feel like every Emily Henry romance book has like such a different dynamic between the characters, especially when you get down into the details of not only their meetings but their history, etc. Like with Beach Read, they did have sort of a history, but it was kind of like an enemies to lovers thing. And then with People Meet on Vacation, it was more of a best friends to lovers thing. And then with Book Lovers, it was like they had never met before. And so now they finally meet, you get to see them meet, and they supposedly don't really like each other, but it's very clear that they absolutely like each other. So I don't know, I thought that was really fun. And I think also the reason why I like this book almost as much as I liked Beach Read, a little bit more than People We Meet on Vacation, but a little bit less than Beach Read, is because it also deals with family dynamics similarly to Beach Read. Like, I feel like this one actually deals more with family dynamics. Like with Beach Read, you definitely have that there, but you don't really get to interact with any of the family members all that much. But with Book Lovers, you definitely get to interact with a lot of the family members. I mean, one of the side characters who is prominently figured in this book is Libby, the little sister, and she's fantastic. I love her so much. And then you also get to see her kids and her husband, and then you get to see Charlie's family, and I really appreciated that about this book. You know, I love family dynamics. I love to get to see all of like the little idiosyncrasies within each family. I think it's super interesting, and I loved that this was like so prominently shown in this book, and it really worked for me. It was really well done, and I'm really glad that Emily Henry decided to focus a lot more on family in this book without detracting at all from the romance. And overall, I just really love that not only with Book Lovers, but just with all of Emily Henry's romance novels to date are just so smart, so emotional, have so much depth to them. And I feel like these are the kind of romance novels I definitely gravitate towards, similarly to like the Brown Sisters trilogy, which is also very smart and very deep and like very emotional. So I think that I definitely have like a type of romance book that I really like, and it's very Emily Henry, it's very Talia Hibbert, stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I loved Book Lovers. I feel like if you like Emily Henry's romance books, you're going to like this one as well. It's not like too different or too out there compared to her other romance books. I really loved it. I mean, I've been talking about this book for the past 15 minutes. I mean, I absolutely freaking love this book. Unfortunately, it wasn't like as much as Beach Read, but I don't know if any other romance book can necessarily reach my level of love for Beach Read besides possibly Act Your Age Eve Brown. Like, that one is another one that is like neck and neck with Beach Read. But yeah, those are like my two top ones. Unfortunately, Book Lovers is like right below there. I did cry a little bit towards the end, I have to admit, but it wasn't anything near the levels of Beach Read. Like, when I read Beach Read, I was sobbing violently. I was listening to Cardigan, listening to Folklore, and just sobbing. So yeah, it definitely wasn't at that level of like Beach Read tearing my heart out of my chest, but I did cry a little bit. It got me there. So, and I actually read this book as an audiobook the same way I did with, well, now I can't remember, did I read People We Meet on Vacation as an audiobook? I think that one I did kind of like a hybrid of physical and audiobook. Beach Read I read physically, and then Book Lovers I read just as an audiobook because I was able to get it for free as an advanced listener's copy from Libro FM. I am part of their, like, I don't know what they call it. Is it like an influencer thing? I can't remember. But I'm part of that little initiative, so I get some audiobooks for free as like an ARC sort of thing. I was going to try to get it from Book of the Month, but it ended up not being a Book of the Month pick for this month, which I was like so shocked. But that's okay, it's not that big of a deal. I ended up getting it as an audiobook and it was totally fantastic. So I really liked it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was so much fun. I don't know if I'd necessarily say this is the one that you should start if you are like going to get into Emily Henry. I personally think that you should start with People We Meet on Vacation, so you kind of have that like baseline of like, okay, this is what it's about, and then maybe go to Book Lovers or Beach Read. But yeah, definitely, I don't know, I mean, I guess you could really start wherever you want. It's not like a series or anything, but I don't know, I think I kind of just have like, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. You can literally read any of the books first and it's gonna be totally fine. They're all really good and I highly recommend all of them. Also, I did want to show you guys some of the books that I got on my New York trip. I got 2 books when I was in New York, and then I also got my Book of the Month while I was in New York. It shipped to my house, so I was able to get that when I came back. So the first book that I picked up was actually from the Barnes & Noble, literally a block away from my hotel, and that is Happy Hour by Marlo Granados, and I am so excited to read this book. I literally was circling that Barnes & Noble, not really knowing what I wanted, and then I saw this book and I remembered that I wanted it so badly. I think I had it on my Amazon wish list, and I also think that I had it saved on Hoopla. So I really wanted to read this book. I've heard really great things and I'm so excited. This is like an adult literary fiction contemporary book. Actually, the thing that really made me want to read it when I saw it at Barnes & Noble when I was reading the back was this quote, and it says, "Reading Happy Hour feels like eating a shimmering, intoxicating slice of the best summer of your life." And Alexandra Kleeman, author of You Too Can Have a Body Like Mine, wrote that quote. Another quote is, "Happy Hour is aptly titled. It's an intoxicating book, at once heartbreaking and joyful." And that was said by Ruman Alam, author of Leave the World Behind. There's also a wonderful, hilarious, pleasurably exhausting reminder of what it is to be young in a big city. It's so much fun. That was said by Megan Nolan, author of Acts of Desperation. So there's a lot of really, really great testimonies on the back, and just, it makes me want to pick this book up immediately. I think it's under 300 pages, so it really shouldn't be a super long read, and I'm hoping it'll become a new favorite. Like, I've been desperately searching for a new favorite book, and you know, I love to have those in my collection. And then I also picked up this book when I was at Walmart in, oh, what's that? This book I actually picked up when I was at Walmart when I was in New York. We had to go there. I think my dad needed like hair gel or something like that. So I ended up going to the book section, obviously, and I picked up a historical romance book, and that is How to Be a Wallflower by Eloisa James. I've seen a lot of really great things about Eloisa James's historical romances, and this one seemed like a lot of fun. I love the cover and I love the back. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. Look at how gorgeous the back is. It's so cute. So I now like own physically 3 historical romances, so maybe I will do a historical romance reading vlog in the future. And then, because unfortunately Book Lovers was not a Book of the Month pick for this month and I ended up getting charged for a credit, I decided to pick up Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. This was not a pick for this month, but it was one of those, like, if you don't like any of the picks for the month, then choose between these 5 favorites or whatever. This one was a January 2022 pick, and I've heard a lot of great things about this book. I'm so excited to read it, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I know that this one is like a queer romance. One of the characters, I believe, is non-binary. Not only did they just come out as non-binary on national television, but this is an opportunity for London to raise some support and a ton of cash for the queer community. So that is super exciting. I am so ready for this book. I have been wanting to read it for so long, but I could not find it on like Hoopla or Libby or anything like that. So I'm really glad that I finally have it as a physical copy. So yeah, all the books that I decided to pick up recently, those were so much fun. And yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed my thoughts on Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the books that I picked up recently. And if you did enjoy this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Storygraph. All the links are going to be down below. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!
Ooh, I thought it'd be me and you.